Okay, so hands on the knees, sitting up nice and tall. We're going to roll the shoulders back. Keep the ribs pulling in so we're slightly activated into the abdominals, and we're just going to close our eyes. And take a couple deep breaths as we arrive on our mats. We're going to drop the chin down towards the chest. Feel the gentle stretch down the back of the neck. And lift the chin up. You can keep the eyes closed as you stretch the head back, lengthening over the front of the throat. And inhale, drop the chin down. Feel the stretch right between the shoulder blades as you look towards the floor. And inhale, lift the chin up. Think about opening that heart towards the ceiling. And drop the chin down. And lift, chin to sky, head drops back, stretching over the throat. And drop the chin down. We're going to keep that chin tucked in, fluttering the eyes open to gaze towards the floor. Roll the shoulders back and then lift the chin up. We're going to take the head over to the right-hand side. Place the right hand on top of the head, easing the ear down towards the shoulder, but keeping that shoulder away from the ear. Then we're going to take the left hand around the back. Try to keep your face facing forwards and not twisted up towards the sky. You want to feel a good stretch down the left side of the neck. No strain, no tension. And coming up to center, we're going to roll those shoulders back, head over to the left-hand side, left hand places on top of the head, and right hand reaches around the back. Keep the shoulders down away from the ears as you lengthen into that shoulder. Each exhale, letting go of any tension you might be holding in that neck. And release. We're going to stretch the arms out in line with the shoulders, drop the shoulders down, reach over to the right-hand side, place the hand on the ground, and left arm reaches over. Turn the palm down, extending through those fingertips, and if you'd like to drop onto your elbow, feel free to do so. Making sure that your left sit bone is connected to the floor. Keeping the chest open, no collapsing in front of the face, lengthening out of that rib cage. And then draw it up, coming through center, drop those shoulders down, reach over to the left, hand to the floor in line with the hips, slide it away, and right arm reaches over. Palm turns to face the floor, extending through those fingertips, make sure the shoulders are away from the ears. Right sit bone connects strong to the ground. And floating back up through to center. Drop those shoulders away from the ears. We're twisting over to the left-hand side, play to the right-hand side. Grabbing the knee with the opposite hand, and other hand goes behind the back. So right hand on the floor behind you, left hand grabs the outside of the right knee, using those arms to twist you open, trying to get your chest to face either your right-hand side or even towards the back of the mat. And release, floating the arms up as you come back to center, dropping those shoulders down over to the left-hand side, placing the hand to the outside of the knee, other hand to the ground at the base of the spine, propping yourself up tall as you wind out that waist. And release, coming through to center. We're going to grab a hold of those knees. Inhale, lift the chest up towards the ceiling and roll those shoulders back, squeezing the shoulder blades back towards the spine and arching the spine forwards. And exhale, round it out. So tucking that tailbone, curling those shoulders forwards as you hollow out that belly. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, open up the chest. And exhale, round it out. Spreading those shoulder blades apart, tucking the tailbone, curling through the back. Inhale, roll it back, open up. Exhale, round it out. Inhale, up, roll it back. And exhale, round it out. Spreading into those shoulder blades. Feel that stretch into the neck. And coming up to center, roll the shoulders back, chest open. We're going to extend the right leg out to the corner of the mat, toes flexed towards you. Left knee is still open towards the ground. Try and keep both sit bones connected to the floor. I'm going to take the right hand along either on top of the shin, elbows connected to the leg, or on the inside of the leg, elbow and forearm are on the ground. Sliding that hand away, we're going to reach the left arm overhead towards those toes. So it's not just up towards the sky, but we really rainbow arc that hand over towards the foot. And ultimately, we'd like those both hands to grab a hold of the foot, if you can find it. Inhaling into that rib cage, feel how it expands and deepens the stretch between each rib. And floating up to center. We're going to twist to have both shoulders square onto that extended leg. Try lengthening up through the spine and folding forward, sending tummy to thigh, chest to shin. And gently sliding it up, taking the bent leg, crossing it over the extended leg, so left sole of the foot places to the outside of the right thigh. We're going to take the left hand behind us, supporting yourself and propping yourself up nice and tall. We're going to take the right arm and tuck the elbow to the outside of the knee. If you'd like to bend the hand up, or the elbow so the hand comes up, and use that leverage to twist out the back. And gently release. Extending the left leg out to the corner of the mat, right foot comes in, bringing the sole of the foot to the inner thigh. Placing the elbow and forearm either on top of the leg or on the inside of that leg. We slide that hand away, right arm rainbows over towards those toes. Using that bottom elbow as leverage to twist the chest open like you want your chest to face the ceiling and not closing off the body. Opening it up. Hands reach towards that foot. Really feel the stretch out of that hip, maybe into the lower back, up through the rib cage, into the armpit, and maybe right down into those arms, tingling into those fingertips. Or maybe this is just straight hamstring and inner thigh. Whatever's tightest will tend to stretch first. Floating up through center and squaring off those shoulders, both hands extended towards the leg. Keeping that knee as straight as you can, straightening out the spine, we fold forwards towards that extended leg. Both hands reaching. Try not to let one hand extend further than the other. You want to try and square off the body so both hands are level. And sliding it back upright. Taking the right leg, crossing it over the left leg, sole of the foot to the floor, connecting solidly to the ground. I'm going to take right hand behind the back, propping yourself up tall and using that hand as leverage to wind you open. And then we're going to take the left elbow to the outside of that knee. Palm is upright or arm is extended, whichever one helps you get the best leverage. So left arm to the outside of right knee if we're mirroring. And gently release. We're going to extend both legs open to the opposite corners of the mat. Legs are nice and wide. We're going to place the hands on the ground in front of you. And if that's the maximum of your stretch, that's fine. probably on those inner thighs and hamstrings. But otherwise, we're going to try and straighten out the back and walk those hands forward to a fairly comfortable position. If you need to wiggle out the hips, that's also a good idea. And then you're going to drop onto those elbows if comfortable. And if you're feeling super flexible, you can walk those arms all the way out in front of you and pancake the whole body down to the ground. But if you're good fairly upright, just trying to make sure that the spine is nice and straight, chest is fairly extended or open as you lower to the elbows. Okay, then we're going to walk the hands over to the right-hand side, one hand either side of that extended leg, and try not to twist the hips, but keep the legs connected firmly to the floor as you reach with the upper body towards that leg, folding on towards that thigh. If you can reach the foot, fantastic, but do what gets you the best stretch with the least amount of bad pain. Good stretching pain is good. Walking over through the center, keeping it as extended forwards as you can, just to really feel what's going on in those hips. And we go over to the left-hand side. Again, ideally, we'd like both hands sort of reaching at a similar kind of level. That way we know it's not just the arms doing all the work. And then walking the hands back to center and propping yourself back upright. Grabbing the outsides of the knees, bring the soles of the feet together, knees open into a butterfly type position. So interlacing the fingers, grabbing the outside edges of the feet, sitting up nice and tall. We open up those knees as much as we can and then bend the elbows to bring the body forwards. So we'd like to do this with as straight a spine as possible. So think about opening your chest as you pull out of the hips, pressing the elbows to the inner thighs and trying to get the knees to the ground, working into those hips, tummy towards the feet. Neck is quite neutral as well, so try not to look forwards. We want the neck in line with the rest of the spine, like you're drawing out through the crown of the head, in line with the length of the spine itself. And release, sending the feet slightly further forward into a bit of a bigger diamond. Interlacing those fingers around the feet. We're going to bring the elbows to the front of the shins this time, rounding into the back and folding crown of the head in towards the soles of the feet. And coming upright, grabbing the outsides of the knees, bringing them together, and we're going to roll over onto our hands and knees for our box position. So hands are directly underneath the shoulders, knees are directly underneath the hips, shins parallel to one another, just loosening up the spine, tucking the tailbone, rounding the back up towards the ceiling, spreading those shoulder blades apart, keeping the shoulders away from the ears as you look towards your belly button, squeezing into those lower abdominals, to fold those hips in towards the tummy. And exhale, drop the belly down, arching through the back, roll those shoulders open so your chest faces out ahead of you. And not just head hanging down looking forwards, but try and lengthen and really pull the head up to gaze ahead. And then tuck tailbone round the back, spread those shoulder blades apart, squeezing those hips in, flexing into those abdominals like a crunch, like an ab crunch exercise. And then as you exhale, drop it down, open the chest, roll shoulders back, lift the chin, squeezing the shoulder blades towards the spine. Inhale, round it up. Last one, folding into those lower abs. And exhale, dropping it down, opening the chest, lifting the chin, roll those shoulders back to squeeze towards the spine and coming up to a neutral spine. So we're not rounded up, we're not collapsed down, but you've got a nice flat tabletop back to balance your morning cafe mocha. We're going to extend the right leg out, parallel to the ground, keeping those hips closed. We're not twisting those hips open. And we're going to lift the left arm up alongside the ear. turning the palm inwards so the thumb is lifted up towards the sky, and flexing that right foot to point towards the floor. Shoulders are away from the ears and we're strong and supported through the right arm. Try and lift the arm higher than the ear. We're going to tap pinky finger and toes straight down towards the floor, and then lift and tap it down and lift. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Try to do this without arching the spine. 9 and 10. Keep it lifted. We're going to take the left hand towards the left edge of the mat, right hand towards the right edge, but still floating up parallel to the ground, and close back to center. So we send off the midline and come back to center. 3, and feel the abs working. 4, especially keeping that back flat. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And back to center. Left hand down, right knee back underneath the hips. Tucking that tailbone to reset into that lower back. We're going to lift the left leg and the right arm. Thumb draws up to the sky, palm turned in. Flexing the left toes down towards the ground. Tucking tailbone, activating into lower abdominals. If you find that makes your leg drop, think about lifting into the glute fold just underneath your bum to get that leg lifted. Adjust the shoulders away from the ears. We lower pinky finger and toes down to the ground and up. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lift, hold it parallel to the ground. Right hand floats to the right side, left leg floats to the left side. Open and close, keeping the tailbone tucked. Number 2, and middle. 3, middle. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Coming back to center, right hand to the ground, left knee to the ground. Placing the big toes together, open up the knees to the outside edge of the mat. Sink the bum back into your child's pose. So you're sitting on your heels and stretching those arms out ahead of you. Melting the tummy between those thighs. Getting the chest towards the ground, extending through those arms, but try not to hunch the shoulders around the neck either. It's a relaxed posture, so try and let those shoulders just melt away from the neck. Walking the hands over to the left-hand side of the mat to sort of 10 to 10 position. Tummy to the left thigh. Really reaching out of that right hand. Feel the stretch down the lats, into the rib cage. And the more you pull your hips back towards the heels, the more you might feel it in your lower back as well. And perhaps in your hips. And maybe if your knees are really tight, this might be quite hectic on your knees. Walk over to the right-hand side. 10 past 2. Hips continue to pull back to the heels. Left arm now stretches away from you. And then walking back through to center. Lifting up onto hands and knees. Pop those knees underneath the hips. Parallel those shins along the ground. Tops of the feet are flat on the floor. We're going to support ourselves through the right hand, connecting strong through that hand. We're going to lift the left arm up towards the ceiling. Stacking those shoulders, opening up the chest. Keep the shoulders away from the ears and use that bottom arm to help you open even further. And then reach that left arm right through underneath the right armpit. rotating the spine but keeping the hips above the knees. Inhale, lift, reach it up towards the ceiling. And exhale, stretch it through. Inhale, lift. Really take the time to maximize the stretch. See if you can go a little further out of your back or out of your arms. Exhale, reach through. Find that spinal twist. It's not just about the arms. Inhale, lift, number 4. Exhale, reach it through. And inhale, 5. And exhale. This time we're going to go all the way through, coming to lie on your left shoulder, left ear. Right arm's going to float up and around into the small of the lower back. And using that left arm extended out ahead of you to twist the shoulders further open so that your chest almost lifts up towards the ceiling. Strong spinal twist. Feeling it through those shoulder blades. Feeling it through the spine. Placing the right hand in front of the face to press yourself back up to your 4-point kneeling. This time we're shifting over to the other arm. Left hand directly underneath left shoulder. Right arm reaches up towards the ceiling. Using that left arm to stack and twist you open. And exhale, stretch it all the way through. You should notice a bit of a difference, right side versus left. Inhale, lift it up, opening the chest. And exhale, reach it through. Inhale, lift. Exhale through. 2 more. Stack those shoulders, open up the body. And through. And last one. Inhale, lift, reaching upwards. Everything's twisting. And exhale all the way through, coming to lie on your right shoulder, right ear. And you can either keep that left hand in front of the face if that's more comfortable. Otherwise, take the left hand around into the small of the lower back. Using your right arm as leverage to twist you open. And the further back you reach that left hand, the more it's going to open the chest as well. If you would like to tuck that right hand into the right inner thigh, that's also an option. Gently releasing, placing the left hand in front of the face to press yourself back up to your 4-pointed kneeling. We're going to tuck those toes, lift the hips gently up towards the sky for your first downwards facing dog. Pressing the arms overhead, hips lift up towards the ceiling. Crown of the head presses towards the floor, heels sink down towards the ground. Legs straighten out. Tummy pulls towards the thighs, like you want your tummy to actually press onto those thighs. Dropping out of the shoulders, and hands and fingers, palms and fingers are connected to the floor, extended and spread apart. We're going to lift up onto our toes, tighten the tummy, roll the body forwards into your plank. Adjust the shoulders away from the ears. Tummy tightens up once more as you lift the hips up. Send the tailbone towards the sky, arms press overhead. We're doing 3 of these. Lifting up onto your toes, tighten the tummy, roll forwards into plank. And press the hips up, lifting towards the ceiling, heels drop down to the ground. Last one, lifting up onto those toes, roll forwards, tight tummy, shoulders move over the fingertips. We lower the knees to the ground, winding the elbows to point behind you, adjust those shoulders away from the ears. We lower chin and chest down towards the floor. Untucking those toes, placing the toes together and the heels apart. We're going to inhale, lift the chest away from the ground, lift the hands away from the floor, so we're floating everything up, squeezing into those shoulder blades and upper spine muscles. By keeping the heels apart, you're relaxing the lower back and glutes particularly. Chin stays tucked in so the neck is nice and neutral. Now that we're in our starting position, you can exhale, lower the body down. And then we're going to inhale, lift the chest away from the ground once more, floating those hands off the floor, and then stretch those arms out ahead, and then tuck the elbows in, really putting the shoulders away from the ears. Stretch forward, number 2, and in. Stretch 3, and in. 4, in, and 5, and in. Placing hands down to the ground. Lower the chest to the floor, tucking those toes, keeping the elbows glued at the rib cage. We push the hips back towards the heels, stretching out those arms. And then lifting the hips up to the sky for your downwards facing dog. Heels sink towards the floor, arms press overhead. Tummy pulls towards those thighs, so you're activating into those hip flexors to fold that pelvis or tilt the pelvis forwards. Lifting up onto our toes, heels fly as high as they can, both feet. We're going to roll forwards into your plank, shoulders over wrists, lowering the knees to the ground if you need to, otherwise straight, chaturanga to the floor, all the way onto your tummy. Toes together, heels apart. We're going to combine the 2 previous exercises. So we're going to inhale, lift the chest away from the floor, stretch the arms out ahead of you, tuck the elbows back in, and then lower the chest back down to the ground. Remembering to keep those heels apart. If you do feel like you're taking strain in the lower back, just try and press your pelvis in towards the floor as you're doing this exercise. Inhale, lift the chest away from the ground, stretch it forward, tuck the elbows in, shoulders down, and chest to the ground. Number 2. Inhale, lift, stretch it ahead, tuck that in, and 3. Inhale, lift, stretch ahead, tuck the elbows in, and 4. And last one, lift, stretch, tuck, and lower. Hands to the ground, tuck those toes, push the hips back towards the heels, stretching out those arms. Feel how the tailbone tucks in this position to stretch out the back. And then lift the hips up towards the sky. Downwards facing dog. Heels sink down. You can take this as your recovery position. If you would like to take a moment in your child's pose, feel free to do so. We're just going to hold it here for about 10 seconds. And work on relaxing into the posture. So relaxing into those shoulders, connecting heels and palms to the floor. Work on straightening out those legs. Then we're going to walk the feet to the front of the mat, keeping the hands connected to the floor. We're at the top of our mat, inner, standing forward fold. Chins tucked in, looking towards those legs. Arms are hanging heavy towards the ground. Bending the knees if you need to. We're going to roll up slowly, 1 vertebra at a time. Tucking through that tailbone, chin is tucked in, head is the last thing to come up. And roll those shoulders back. Inhale, reach the arms out and up overhead. And exhale, swan diving all the way forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Lift the tailbone, lift the shoulders, opening up the chest to a nice flat back. And exhale, folding forwards, bend the knees, placing the hands on the ground. Right foot steps back. We're on the board of the right foot. Right heel is off the ground. Left knee is directly above left ankle. Reach the arms forwards and up as you sink into your high lunge. Palms are turned to face in. Working towards a 90 degree. Right knee straightens up. We fold forwards, one hand either side of the front leg, right hand underneath right shoulder, left arm reaches up towards the ceiling. Squeezing the right knee straight. So left fingers are reaching up, you're twisting your tummy towards that left thigh. Your body is facing the left hand side of your mat. We're going to drop the right knee down towards the ground, unflip the toes, and then use those left fingertips to pull you up, upright. Left hand pulls towards the back of the mat, right hand is extended towards the front of the mat. So we're twisted still towards the left hand side. Hips are sinking down towards the ground. And then place the right hand down and left hand places alongside that left foot. Tucking the toe, lifting the knee, you're going to step back into a plank. And hold your plank. We're going to lower the knees, or chin and chest, straight down for your chaturanga. Untuck those toes, press up for cobra, or work into your baby cobra as we practiced before, which should be a little bit easier than normal now that those muscles are nice and warm. Placing the hands down on the ground, tucking the toes, push the hips back towards the heels, stretching out those arms. And then lift the hips up towards the ceiling, dropping the heels down, arms press overhead. Downwards facing dog. You're going to place the weight into the right hand, left hand reaches towards the right foot. So you're crossing over and pressing strong through that right hand to reach towards the ankle. If you can only reach the knee, that's also fine. And then left hand places to the ground and right hand reaches through for the left ankle. So we're crossing over. And then release the hand to the front of the mat. We're going to lift the right leg up towards the ceiling, lift up onto those left toes, bring your right knee in towards your chest and step to the front of the mat. So we're on the ball of the left foot, right knee is directly above right ankle, reach the arms forwards and up into your high lunge. Tucking tailbone, pulling belly button in, drawing those arms back behind the ears, dropping those shoulders away from the ears. So we're active into that upper back, but still pulling the ribs in. So we're not only arching and flaring, but we are core engaged, active through the thoracic spine. Palms turned in. Lunge a little deeper if you're up for the challenge. You know there's room for it. Folding forwards, one hand either side of that front leg. Left hand underneath left shoulder, right arm reaches towards the ceiling. Stretching up through those right fingertips. Left knee is still off the ground. Drop the left knee towards the floor, untuck those toes. We use the right fingers to pull you upright. Right hand pulls to the back of the mat. Left arm's extended to the front of the mat. Keeping the body twisted as you sink the pelvis towards the floor. We're going to cartwheel those arms down either side of the front foot, tuck the toes, lift the knee off the ground and step to the front of the mat. Brushing the fingertips along the floor, reach the arms up, sink the body down into your chair. Shoulders away from the ears. Pulling the knees back behind the toes, lifting the body upright, tailbone tuck so you're not just collapsing that lower back, but the lower abs are active to support the spine. And exhale, folding forwards. Inhale halfway, Inhale halfway lift to tabletop. And exhale, folding forwards, bend the knees, placing the hands on the ground. Left foot steps back. We're going to drop the left heel down to 45 degrees, cartwheel up, warrior two. So left hand extends to the back of the mat, right hand's extended to the front of the mat. Right knee is over the right ankle as you lunge into that right leg. Drop those shoulders down, tuck tailbone, tummy is active. We're going to cartwheel down either side of the front foot, roll onto the ball of the back foot, step back to a plank. Lowering the knees, chin and chest, or full chaturanga down to the ground. And staying flat on the floor. Extend the left arm out in line with the left shoulder. Right hand is next to the chest. We're going to lift the right leg up and roll the right foot behind the left leg. Placing the sole of the foot flat to the ground and drawing the right knee up towards the ceiling. Really rolling onto that shoulder. And enjoying the shoulder stretch and the spinal twist. And then rolling back onto your tummy and changing sides. So right arm extends out in line with the right shoulder, left hand underneath the left shoulder. Left leg lifts up and roll onto the right hand shoulder, placing the foot behind that right thigh. Drawing the left knee up towards the ceiling to help you get more leverage, rolling onto the arm and getting more of a spinal twist at the same time. Coming back onto your tummy, we're going to cross the right hand underneath the chest. So the closer you slide the forearm towards you, the more upright you get into the back. If you do struggle with back issues, try not to lift too high because we don't want to compress into the spine, into the vertebra. I'm going to bend the left leg, reach around with the left hand, grab the ankle, and press the heel alongside the hips. So the closer you get the arm towards you and the more upright you get the body, the closer you'll end up being to the leg, which means you get better leverage. But naturally, if your spine's a bit tight or your arms are not quite strong enough to support you, that'll be more of a challenge, in which case you'll end up pulling for that quad stretch instead. But so long as you're feeling a stretch through the left thigh, front thigh, we're pretty much in the right place. If you feel like you're pinching in your lower back, try press the pelvis in towards the floor, which also increases the stretch through that quad. So, good idea, back pain or not, to press the pelvis down. Release the left foot, place the right hand underneath the chest, forearm is parallel to the front edge of the mat. Right leg bends, reach around with the right hand and press the heel alongside the hip. Ideally, fingers are running up the shin and palm of the hand is on the top part of the foot. Elbows drawn up towards the sky, and as you roll open, you're getting a nice stretch across the right pec and shoulder as well. Remembering to press the pelvis down. And release the foot down to the ground. Hands underneath the shoulders, tuck those toes. Push the hips back towards the heels, stretching out the arms. And then lift the hips up towards the ceiling. We're going to lift the right leg up towards the sky. Lifting up onto your left toes, you're going to bring your right knee in towards your chest. Shift forwards to plank, but just hold. So we're going to hold this knee tucked position. Adjust the shoulders. If it's too intense, you can place the back knee down on the ground and still work on crunching that knee as tight towards the chest as you can. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Kicking it straight back into your three-legged downwards facing dog. Holding that leg up as high as you can, we're going to do 5 circles, painting circles with your toes. So going clockwise. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, change direction, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And softly place the foot down on the ground, feet parallel to one another. Let's get straight into the other side. Left leg lifts up towards the ceiling, lift up onto your toes, shift forwards to plank, bring your left knee in towards your chest, and hold, crunching through those abdominals, pressing strong in the arms. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Kick it back, right? Left leg to sky. 5 circles one way. Let's work through this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Change direction. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to take that left foot to the top of the mat, stepping between the feet, hands, stepping the foot between the hands. Drop the right foot down, 45 degrees, cartwheel straight up, warrior 2. Arms can sort of relax as you sink the work into your legs. Tailbone tucks, tummy is tight, shoulders away from the ears. If your shoulders are shrugging up around your neck and ears, You'll notice how much harder it is after that previous exercise. So let's just say we tired you out so that you don't hold too much tension. Left knee is directly above left ankle. Right knee is squeezing straight. Palms are turned to face towards the floor. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Roll forwards, cartwheeling hands either side of the front foot, roll onto the ball of the back foot, and step to the front of the mat. Inhale, brush the fingertips along the ground, reach the arms up into your chair. Palms together down to heart center. We're going to take the right elbow to the outside of the left knee, pressing the hands together to twist the spine. Twisted chair, keep it sinking low. And coming up to center, lifting the body upright, hands are still at heart center. We take the left elbow to the outside of the right knee, pressing the palms together to twist the body, trying to get the hands at heart center once more. And coming back through to center. Last little bit of burn, we're going to lift those heels off the ground in your chair. Loving this 5 count today. So we hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the heels down and straighten out those legs. Shake it out. Lifting the body upright to standing. We're going to grab a seat in the center of the mat. Legs bent, feet flat. Arms extended out ahead of you. We're going to tuck the tailbone and roll your way down to the ground. Reaching the arms overhead. Deep breath in and exhale, reach forwards, roll all the way up and extend those arms in line with the ears. Reach forward, tuck tailbone, roll down. We're doing 5 curl-ups. Overhead. Exhale forwards, all the way up. Reach, tuck, roll down. Reaching overhead. Exhale, reach forwards, all the way up. Roll down. Overhead. Forwards, all the way up. And last one, tuck tailbone, roll down. Reaching overhead. Exhale, reach up to seated. We're going to lower the arms down parallel to the ground. Lean the spine back to 45 degrees. Lift one leg, lean the other leg parallel to the floor. And then extend those legs. Pulling the arms up overhead in line with the ears. We hold again for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Arms forward, feet down, tuck tailbone, roll down to the floor. Arms alongside the body, turning the palms up towards the ceiling. Lift both knees up to 90 degrees. We're going to open up those knees to that butterfly position. Toes are sort of together. Unless it's more comfortable with the soles of the feet, in which case, up to you completely. We're going to tap those toes down towards the ground. And then lift the feet up back to 90, still with the space. Tap down and lift. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Lift and hold it up at 90. Knees are still apart. Going to reach the arms between the legs. Exhale, squeeze hands towards feet for a crunch. And inhale, come down. Exhale, reach. Inhale, down. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And release. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Wrap the arms around the knees, squeezing it tight. And then placing the feet down on the ground. We're going to cross the right knee over the left knee. as tight as you can tuck it or squeeze it together. So like how a lady might cross her legs. We're going to hook the right foot behind the left calf, if possible. If not, just keep it as tightly tucked as you can. Otherwise, wrap it as pretzel up as you can get it. Arms extended out in line with the shoulders. We're going to take both knees over to the left-hand side, twisting the knees down towards the ground, rotating out of the back, and hopefully feeling a little bit of a stretch through that glute as well. Keeping the right shoulder connected to the floor. So the weight of the one leg is pulling the other one down towards the ground in your eagle legs position. Drawing it back upright and unhooking the legs. Place the right foot on the ground. Left knee is going to tuck right tight onto the right leg. Gosh, mouthful. And then hook the left foot behind the right calf. Yes, there we go. Great. And then dropping the knees over to the right-hand side. Pulling the knees down towards the ground. And drawing it up to center. Unhooking the legs, placing the feet on the floor. We're going to cross right ankle onto left knee, how a man might cross his legs. Reaching the arms through for the back of the left thigh and pull the knee towards you. Pressing your right knee open so we get a good stretch through the right glute. And then releasing that left foot down to the ground, right foot places on the floor. Left ankle crosses over right knee, reach through for the back of the right thigh and pull the knee towards you. Pressing left elbow to left inner thigh. Placing the feet back down on the ground, adjusting the feet to the outside edges of the mat. Knees are bent. Bring the heels as close towards your bum as you can get them. Both knees drop over to the right-hand side. Right foot places on top of left knee, pulling the knees towards the ground and then squeezing the tummy tight so the lower back flattens out as well. Not necessarily going to touch the ground with the back, but so long as you're pulling that hip away from the thigh, feeling a really great stretch across the left hip flexor. Release the foot, lift the knees up, back upright, adjust the feet to the edges of the mat, adjusting the lower back so we're all set. Both knees drop over to the left, left foot places on top of right knee, pulling the knees towards the floor and tightening the tummy. Releasing the foot, lifting the knees up to 90 or back upright. You're going to bring the right knee in towards the chest, left leg up towards the ceiling. Rock the left toes over the face and swing all the way up. You're going to come up to seated, crossing the ankles with one leg in front, or if you really want to, one foot on top. And you're going to fold forward, stretching those arms out ahead of you, relaxing the neck. Walking the hands back towards you, other ankle crosses to the front, and folding forwards. And then walking the hands back up towards you. Thank you all for joining me this morning. It's been a wonderful class. I will see you on Tuesday.